Beautiful. All
Continue.
right. I am super excited you guys are all here. This is a deep stretch and restore and a little bit of core as the name of the class. So we'll be spending a decent amount of time moving the body and stretching in very opening ways. We'll be spending a little bit of time doing some restorative, longer held poses. If anyone's familiar with yin yoga, it is pretty similar to that. So we'll be using some props and holding some deeper stretches that we're going for sensation. These yin poses are supposed to be very felt in the body, but only to a 60 to 70% sensation. So I like to say that this is the class that you can get a C in. We don't want pain, we don't want tingling sensation, and we don't want any numbness. We want deep stretching sensation. And if anybody is questioning that or has any clarification that they need, I want this to be an open communication style of class. So you can always just stop me and say, hey, Jewel, like, what am I supposed to be feeling? Hey, I don't really get the cues. Hey, can we do something else? This doesn't feel good. So I like to offer many modifications and different variations of poses. So please, if anything doesn't feel right in your body, don't do it. And if anything is hard for you to find a modification, just, say my name, raise a hand, whatever it is you need to do, get my attention, and we will get you to a stretch that feels good. Because that's the point of yoga, to feel good, right? So we're gonna get started in a seated position. So option to sit on the chair or option to sit on the ground. And Russ and Ian, you don't have to turn your video on, but it might be easier for me to see what's going on in your body if you do need help. So totally up to you if you want your video on or not. But if your video is on, let me see what's going on, and then I'll have a better idea of how I can help you in any way. So we feel good about that. Anybody got questions?
Okay.
All right, love it. Okay, cool. So I am going to start in the chair just so you guys can see how we can do this in a chair. But if you'd like to sit on the ground, totally a good option as well. You can find a Sukhasana with the legs crossed, or you can find a Virasana, which is hero's pose, sitting on the heels with the knees close together. And if you'd like to sit in a chair instead, if you are having low back pain or if you are having any knee pain, this might be a little bit of a softer option for you. Also, I forgot to mention, if you do want to put music on, you can play your own music. I don't play music over Zoom. Gail's good at that, but I haven't quite figured it out how to not make it sound funky. So I'll give you about a minute and a half. If you'd like to set up any music, go for it. But I want you guys to really find your ground and settle into your seat. So that means maybe feet are on the ground. If you're on the ground with your booty on the floor, maybe your knees start to relax. Maybe your hips start to get heavy. And wherever you are, I want you to trace the sides of your body, the obliques, with your hands, and just start to lengthen the sides. So you're really emphasizing the space between the tailbone and the neck. So after you've traced the sides of your body and asked yourself to grow maybe half a centimeter each time you trace, I want you to bring one hand to the nape of your neck on that big bony part of your spine at the very top, and then the opposite hand right to your tailbone, which is that bony part right where your booty and your back meet. So you have these two vertebrae, these two parts of your spine that are in opposite sides of the spine. We'll call them north and south, just for today. So I want you to close your eyes. Shake the head no once or twice, and then shake the head yes once or twice. And find that spot where your head feels like it's truly sitting on the perfect little pedestal created by your spine. So your neck is tall. The crown of your head, the very tip top part of your head, might be reaching upwards energetically, while the tailbone and the sit bones are reaching downward energetically. So you're really enlarging that space between the north side of your spine and the south side of your spine. There's an option to keep your hands where they are or bring the hands to the legs, palms facing down for a little bit of grounding energy and palms facing up for a little more receiving energy. If that's confusing or you don't know, one up, one down, or whatever feels natural. Another option is to connect with your body in a different way. Some people like a hand on the heart, a hand on the belly, maybe a hug. Maybe you explore a couple variations and just find what feels good. Close the eyes or let the eyes get heavy and continue that elongation of the spine. We're going to practice a little bit of breathing before we start moving and grooving here. And we'll practice something called the 3-part breath, which in yoga we call Dirga Swasam. Dirga meaning slow, long, or complete, and Swasam meaning breath. So the 3-part breath will invite air into the belly, into the abdomen. So we'll practice that first part together. We'll inhale, maybe you put your hands on your belly to connect with the body, and inhale just like a balloon is growing only in the abdomen. As you exhale, you'll feel your belly button start to go back towards your spine a little bit, releasing that air. We'll do this 2 more times together, inhaling to bring that air into the belly. And then exhale, feel the balloon start to deflate. But 1 more time together, just inhale through the abdomen, letting the belly rise. And then exhale, feel the belly sink. Awesome. So we'll come back to normal breathing just for a moment, and we'll do this in different steps. So our 3-part breath has 3 parts, and the abdomen breath is that first part. Now we'll add the second part, which is the rib cage. So the first part's our abdomen. The second part will invite that air from the abdomen into the rib cage. And then later on, for our third part, we'll invite that air into our chest. So let's practice 3 times together, breathing into the belly, and then trying to let that air soften into the rib cage and letting the air rise. So we'll exhale together, place 1 hand on the belly, 1 hand on the rib cage. Inhale, feel the belly rise, the balloon is inhaling, and then lift that air towards the rib cage. Good, now we'll bring it reverse to the exhale. Exhale first, the rib cage starts to flatten, and then the abdomen starts to flatten. We'll do that 2 more times. You can follow my cues or go on your own breath, whichever works best for you. We'll inhale deeply through the abdomen, and then let it rise through the rib cage. Hold it at the top for a second, and then exhale, the rib cage flattens, and then the belly releases its air. Good, we'll do it 1 more time. Inhale, the abdomen starts to blow up like a balloon. Invite it into the rib cage. Hold at the top, and then exhale, the rib cage flattens, and then the abdomen flattens. Good, so we'll pause here. Does anybody have any questions or any clarification that's needed for this 3-part breath so far? We feel good? Okay, I'll take that as a yes.
Wait.
Yeah.
I don't understand the rib cage.
Okay, the rib cage, yeah, that's why I wanted to pause. The rib
How do you
cage,
make the air go in there?
So are you comfortable, Russ, when you, or do you understand how it feels to inhale to the belly without
No.
inhaling to the chest? Okay,
No.
so I want you to just take a normal breath for a second and put your hands on your body and tell me where you feel the body expanding.
Rib cage.
Rib cage? Okay, so I want you to purposefully, very dramatically, let your belly expand the next time you inhale. Put your hands on your belly and feel the lower belly expand like a balloon. Does this make sense?
I think so.
Okay, it's very subtle, and Russ, I'll work with you a little bit more when we chat about this, because this is like a very big part of yoga breath. So we'll definitely have a little bigger of a lesson on this. But when you think about inhaling, you want to think about inhaling from the lowest part of your diaphragm and then letting it rise to the highest part. So the thing is, most people are chest breathers because that is in our go, go, go society, the very normal way that maybe very high energy people or people that struggle with anxiety start to breathe. And so you might notice when you're stressed out or when you have shallow breath, it's mostly air coming in and out of your chest. So this yogic breath, this Dirga Swasam, invites the air to start from your abdomen and then slowly lift it up to the chest. So Russ, we're gonna try it in the 3 different parts. And if you don't get it, I want you to let go of it and think about it another day. And for this sake right now, just take deep breaths, letting the whole body start to expand on the inhale. And then exhale, maybe you feel yourself sink a little bit down. And so we'll practice with the 3-part breath at a later time, but if it's not working for you, I don't want it to frustrate you because that's not the point. I want you to just think about taking deep breaths, okay?
Okay.
Okay, cool. So let's try the 3-part breath, all 3 parts, just 3 times together, and then we'll start our little stretching. So the first part will be our abdomen. The second part will invite it into the rib cage. And then the third part, you'll feel your chest rise just a teensy bit. I'm being dramatic about it just to show you, but you might feel your collarbones expand a little bit. And essentially your diaphragm, all of your breathing muscles will be used from the very bottom part of your body all the way to the tops of your lungs, which end all the way up here. So we have this capability to breathe through the whole body. But like I said before, usually we're only breathing in the chest. So it might take a little bit to really like feel the effects of this. And if you at any point get a little dizzy or there's too much going on, just come to normal breath. But we'll start by breathing through the nose. And then you have a choice. You can exhale through the nose or exhale through the mouth, whichever feels more natural for you. So we're all gonna exhale fully, let everything out of the body, place a hand on the belly and a hand on the heart, and then inhale from the bottom of the belly and let that air rise to the rib cage, and then let that air rise to the chest. We'll go reverse on the exhale, exhaling first, letting the chest sink, letting the rib cage flatten, and then letting the abdomen release its air. Doesn't matter if it's messy. One more time, inhale the belly, let the rib cage expand and the collarbones and chest, and then release your air, first from the chest, then the rib cage, then the belly. Good, 1 more on your own time, whether it's a deep breath or a belly, rib cage, chest breath. On the exhale, maybe you stick out the tongue, maybe you sigh, let it feel good. And then just close your eyes for 2 moments and take 2 of your natural breaths. Inhaling deeply and exhaling either out of the mouth or the nose. Okay. Now we'll start to breathe. So you guys are both on the floor, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna join you. All right, so if we're in a cross-legged position, we're gonna start by moving the spine all 6 different ways that it can go. So we'll start by inhaling, reaching the arms over the head, letting the palms face one another. Shrug the shoulders up just for a moment and then reach them down away from the ears. Good, as we inhale, lift the fingers, lift the head. As we exhale, we're gonna twist to the right, placing the left hand on the right knee and letting the right hand fall behind you. Maybe you find a block or your chair or something behind you to lift the chest higher. Inhale, we find a length, letting the head reach to the ceiling. Exhale, we twist a little bit deeper. Maybe you gaze past the right shoulder with the eyes. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. Inhaling, letting the head reach higher. Exhaling, twisting a little deeper. Good, this time on the inhale, plant your sit bones into the ground, relax the knees. Exhale, spin the body just a centimeter deeper, maybe gaze past the right shoulder. Embrace the core slightly. We'll inhale, twist the torso back to center, reach the arms up high. And we'll bring it to the other side. Exhaling towards the left, we'll twist. Bring the right hand to the left knee. Left hand comes behind you, or maybe on a surface. I like to have my hand on a block or a chair so I can use it to lift my chest up. Inhale, we'll let the head rise, elongating the spine. Exhale, use that length to twist, gazing past the left shoulder. Inhale to lift and find length, and exhale to twist. One more, inhale to plant the sit bones into the ground, relax the knees, relax the hips. Exhale to twist, squeezing in the abdomen for a little bit of strength and power in your twist. Good. We'll release on the inhale, bringing the torso back to straighten, lift the arms up overhead. Exhale, plant the hands onto the knees. Good. So now we'll do a couple of lateral bends side to side. So same thing as before, we're gonna inhale to reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, left hand finds the earth as we bend to the left, reaching the right fingers over to the left. Good. So I want you to check in here. Is your body reaching towards the ground? Is your chest facing the floor? Or can you reach your heart open towards the ceiling and use this left hand as a kickstand? I want that right sit bone to be grounded on the earth, while the right sit bone and the right shoulder find the most amount of space between them. So we're really opening the arm, opening the side body, and letting the right butt cheek stay on the ground so we can really find that length from our grounding point to our tipping point. Option to bring the right arm into big circles in one direction and then the other, or option to stay in stillness, continuing to reach the right fingers all the way towards the left wall next to you. So take another breath, checking in to see if the head is cranking to one side or another. Find that perfect pedestal. Embrace the core, and on your next exhale, lift the torso upright. Inhale, lift the left arm to meet the right up towards the sky, and then we'll plant the right hand down on the ground, curving our body towards the right. This time, left fingers reach all the way to the right bone. Good. So again, we'll check in with ourselves. Maybe the right arm is bent, maybe it finds straighten, whatever it is to bring that support as a little kickstand. We'll start to open the chest towards the ceiling instead of letting it curve towards the ground, and really press into that right hand to let the whole left side body open. Again, that left booty cheek is glued to the ground while we're really emphasizing the amount of space between the hip and the shoulder. Reach the left fingers long towards the right side of the room. Check in with the head. Maybe you're dropping the ear to the shoulder. Can you create that perfect pedestal? Good. A couple more breaths here. Maybe you invite really big circles, drawing circles in the air in one direction and then the other. Or maybe you find stillness, reaching the fingers long. And wherever you are, maybe you spread the fingers out just to see how that changes things throughout the forearm and the wrists and the shoulder. One more inhale, reach the fingers just a centimeter closer to the wall. Exhale, embrace the abdomen, bring the torso upright. Inhale, reach both arms up, gaze up at the sky, prayer at the top. Exhale, draw the prayer to heart center, keep the spine long. Beautiful, guys. Okay, so we'll take some rolling cat-cows in the seated position this time. Actually, I'm gonna stop you guys for a second. Are both of you comfortable on your knees, or is that not a good position for you?
I'll have to try. One of my knees
Okay.
is bad, but I have padding. I'll try one.
Okay, cool. We don't have anything for the knees planned, but just in case.
Yeah.
How about you, Russ? Is that a good position for you or no?
I don't like my knees. My
Okay,
knees don't
cool.
like it.
That's totally cool because the plan had no knees anyway, so no worries. Okay, cool. Not many people's knees are fans of them. Knees are scary things. I'm terrified of knees, so I try to stay off them too. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is extend the feet out in front of us. Heels are going to stay on the ground and knees will be facing upward. I want you to think about your toes and your knees facing the same direction. So if it feels better to open the knees, let the toes follow. If it feels better for the knees to point directly to the ceiling, let the toes follow. Wherever you are, maybe you check in with one leg being a little uneven, which is totally okay because humans are not symmetrical, but whichever direction your knee is facing, I just want the toes to be facing a similar direction. So we're gonna start on our inhale, placing our hands on top of our knees and spreading them out wide as we press our chest through the legs, letting the gaze reach up to the ceiling. And then as we exhale, we're going to rock back on the sit bones, so back on the booty, grasp underneath the legs this time, and let the chin tuck into the chest as you gaze to the navel. Inhale, we'll switch the grip again, placing the hands on top of the knees, reaching the chest through the legs, gazing at the ceiling. Exhale, flip the grip to underneath the legs. Use that support. Our legs are heavy, so you can really reach back, gaze at the navel, and find a little bit of release maybe in the neck or the back. We'll take this 3 more times. Inhale, spread the legs, grab the knees, press the chest through, chest is reaching forward. Exhale, hands underneath the knees, rock back. Maybe your shoulders even creep towards one another in the front of the body. Good. Couple more times, and I want you to really explore this movement on your own. So I'm gonna keep moving, but I'm going to stop cueing. And I just want you to find organic movement. So maybe that means you rock side to side when you're in one of these positions. Maybe that means you start to press the toes to the ground and see how that feels. Maybe that means that you just sit and breathe because that feels better. So take 3, maybe 4 more rounds of this seated cat-cow and just explore what you feel. Let the body feel what it feels. Wherever you are, keep the breath going. In yoga, we like to use the inhales to move the body in an opening position. And on the exhales, we move the body to move into a closed position. So the inhales will initiate the opening of the heart, opening of the throat, and the exhales will initiate the closing of the heart and the closing of the throat. Good. So wherever you are, find your way to a neutral spine. And we'll sit cross-legged once again. So we're going to do a little bit of wrist stretching now. And some people like to do this on their knees. So Ronnie, if you do want to try, Ian, if you do want to try this in a tabletop position, you can go for it. Otherwise, we'll stay in a seated position. So if this doesn't work for anyone, just let me know and I will give you a different modification. But we're going to go for like kind of the more sensational version first. And if it doesn't work, we'll drop it down a couple notches. Sound good?
Sure.
Okay, so what we're going to do is place our hands palms facing up towards the ceiling to start. And then we'll keep letting our hands and our fingers reach in the same direction until the fingers are facing the floor. From here, we'll let our hands reach down to the ground and place the entire palm, if possible, down on the ground. And if this doesn't work for somebody, just let me know and we'll figure something else out. Some people like to do this on their hands and knees, or some people like to sit on their shins and have their hands pretty much right in front of them, shoulders distance apart. Is this okay for everybody?
Okay.
If it's not, we can bring one hand at a time right in front of us and then use the opposite hand to stretch it back, kind of like you're emulating the floor and your wrist against one another. So totally your choice. I'll demo both just in case. So first we're going to start by slightly bending the elbows back just a centimeter, about 4 times. And we're really just looking for a stretch where the wrist and the forearm meets. The harder you press the fingers into the ground and the wider you press the fingers away from one another, like a star or like jazz hands or like you're playing the piano, the more sensation you might feel. Good. So we'll do this a couple more times, bringing a little sensation into the hands. And then once you feel good and ready, and if this feels really yummy, please continue. If you're a little bit ready to give up the wrist stretch, we're going to take our hands back to face the ceiling, palms facing up, and we'll flip our palms so they're facing the ground. This time we'll let our fingers once again fall towards the ground. So now you're showing me the back of your palms, and we'll press the back of our hands onto the mat. So this is a little bit different. I don't want you to put all of your weight right away or ever onto your wrist, but this might feel different wrist to wrist. And here we're going to rock side to side and just explore the sensations that we're feeling in the back of the wrist. Think about spreading the fingers wide and gluing all 10 fingernails to the mat or to the ground underneath you, even the pinky and the thumb. If this feels okay, we'll come back to center. And once again, we'll just reach the shoulders towards the back of the room so you feel a stretch in the forearm.
Hey, Jewel,
Yeah,
are your fingers pointing towards your body or away from your body?
the fingers are pointing towards the body. Yes.
Ah,
Yes. So
are you rolling forward so your weight transfers to your wrists?
yes, so that is where we're going, is we're going to roll forward so the weight transfers forward, so shoulders are over wrists. And then we're going to roll back so the shoulders are closer to the wall behind you than your wrists. So this is kind of a choose your own medicine ordeal, right? So we can rock back and forth. We can take some of the weight off of our hands, or we can continue rocking side to side if that feels good. Does that answer your question, Russ?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, okay. Are you having trouble feeling this, or is it a little funky on your body?
No, it just feels unusual to my
Yeah.
wrists.
Yes, it is unusual. I don't want it to be painful, but I do want you to feel a sensation. Again, 60 to 70%, not pain, not tingling. So if this does feel pretty sensational, let's take a break. If you're new to this kind of stretch, if this is something you're not used to, your body's probably like, oh my God, I like this, but I'm confused. So if this feels yummy to you, you can continue. And if not, we're gonna move on anyway. So take a couple more breaths. Maybe you flip the palms back so the fingers are facing you, but your palms are on the ground as a counter stretch. And we'll just take a little wrist stretch. If this is too much, maybe you reach the palm forward and press it back. And then you can let the palm, I'll come a little closer so you can see it. A variation of this is to show me your palm, like a high five. And then you can use the opposite hand to press the hand towards you to feel that same stretch in the wrist. And to find the opposite way, you'll show me the back of your hand, like an opposite high five. And then you'll use the opposite hand to pull the hand towards you and feel that stretch across the wrist. So wherever you're feeling it, whichever variation works for you, stick with that one. And then maybe after doing this a couple times, it'll feel less funky and a little more yummy sensational, because that's what we're going for. Okay, so let's move on. Let's do a little bit of hamstrings. So let's see. So I'm gonna have you guys sit on the ground. And if you do have a chair accessible, you can grab the chair, but I think you guys are gonna be okay without the chair. All right, so if you have a pillow or a block or something that you can rest your head on, have that available. So I have my bolster here. You can also use a pillow. You can use a rolled up yoga mat. You can use kind of anything you want or nothing. These are totally optional. So we're going to start with both legs extended long in front of us. And we're going to use that same action of bringing our hand to the bottom of our spine and to the bottom of our neck and just finding an elongation. So you're really letting the spine rise, grounding at the sit bones, and letting the top of your head reach towards the ceiling. From here, we're going to hug the left knee towards the chest and let the knee fall out to the side. So we're setting up for something called Janu Shirshasana, which means head to knee pose in Sanskrit. So this left foot will be connected to the right leg. It can be on the shin, below the knee, it can be close to the knee, or it can be scooted all the way in towards the groin area. Doesn't matter where it is, wherever it falls for you. So this right foot will be flexed, and the knee, I want it to be soft, but not hyperextended. So some people really like to put a rolled up blanket or even a book or something underneath them to remind them to bend. But I just want that knee to be soft. We're not going to have any tight, total straight legs here. As we inhale, we'll reach the arms high up towards the sky. As we exhale, we'll start hinging at the hips. We're not going to bring our hands to our legs just yet, but we're going to hold this heavy platter that you're serving somebody in front of you. So while you're holding this platter, I want you to reach the right arm forward and then the left arm forward and the right arm forward and the left arm forward. So you should maybe be feeling a little bit of sensation start to grow in the hamstrings. If you're not feeling anything, we're going to try to hinge forward to bring the center of the chest towards the front wall. And we're going to try to use the arms to reach the chest forward as we flex the right toes back. When you feel like you are at your max and you can't reach forward any longer, we're gonna flick the platter over, plant the hands onto the earth, and maybe you crawl the fingers a centimeter farther, and then maybe you release the head towards the leg. I like to take my bolster here and put it right on top of my leg so I can rest my chest on it, or I can rest my head on it. Whatever falls onto the pillow or the blanket, we want to let ourselves release, feeling a hamstring stretch. Is anybody not feeling this? Okay, so this is Janu Shirshasana A. We'll be doing 2 different versions of this pose. This first pose will start to, it's called head to knee pose, but I want you to think about bringing your head to your big toe of your right foot. So you're reaching forward actively as that left knee starts to relax, releasing tension from the left leg entirely. If you're starting to collect tension in the shoulders, we'll roll the shoulders back and down. And if you're starting to collect tension in the face, maybe you open the eyes wide, open the mouth wide, and then ask the eyes, the eyebrows, and the jaw to relax. If you'd like to invite a little bit of a twist into this pose, we'll take the left hand to the outside, the pinky edge side of your foot, and bring the right hand behind you towards the right hip. We'll start to let the body twist open towards the right as you imagine someone pulling your right hip point back to the back of the room. So it's like someone has a lasso around your hips and they're pulling you back, while someone has a crown on you that they're pulling forward. So we're reaching in 2 different directions for this hamstring stretch. Take 3 of your slowest breaths that you've taken yet today. Maybe you invite that Dirga Swasam, the 3-part breath back, or maybe you just take big, deep breaths. exhaling, maybe releasing any heat from the body or making any noise, letting a sigh come out if you need. Take one last inhale, followed by a last exhale. We'll bring our hands on either side of our leg, come to the fingertips as you crawl the torso back upright. Good. So this time we're going to take our right leg and bring it about 45 degrees out to the side. We'll take this left foot and scoot it back to connect with the right leg once again. And we're going to take a similar pose, but we'll be doing a lateral side bend instead of reaching forward. So once we're here, we'll inhale to reach the arms up overhead. And just like we did in the beginning, we're going to twist slightly to the left, let the right arm fall towards the right leg, and then bend the body towards the right to let the left fingers reach all the way towards the wall. Some people like to bring this left arm down to ground it on the floor. Some people really like to bring big circles, just like we did in the beginning with the arm in both directions. And some people love to reach. If you'd like a different variation, you can take your chair and use it as a little pillow here to rest the arm, to rest the head, or to grab onto the chair. So I know that's a lot of options, so I don't want it to be overwhelming and giving you too many options here. But what we're looking for is a nice flex of the right foot, digging the right heel into the earth, letting the hip bones and the sit bones connect down energetically towards the ground, and reaching the sides of the body, especially the left side, opening. It's okay to let the heart reach a little bit forward here, but we do want to focus on finding that opening of the left side body. So maybe you explore, maybe you let the heart turn towards the ground and then open the heart towards the ceiling and see what feels best for you. See what feels most opening and what your body is asking for. Take about 3 more breaths. They say that there's this internal teacher that lives right inside of our heart chakra, which is our energy center that lives in our heart. This guru, this teacher, often leads us in a direction during yoga class. Sometimes it's hard to listen or really tune in, but this is your opportunity here to ask what your body wants. That energy channel inside of you that is part body, part divine, it's asking for something. So follow that. We'll take one more inhale, reach the fingers overhead towards the right side of the wall. And we'll use our abdomen here to lift the torso upright, bringing both arms to the ceiling. One more inhale, prayer at the top, gaze slightly up. Exhale, prayer to heart center, let it fall towards the ground. Good, hands to the earth. And we're just going to switch sides here. So we'll extend both legs out. Maybe you shake them out and just feel the difference in the hamstrings. Maybe you notice one feels a little bit happier. Maybe one feels a little bit tighter after stretching, but there is a reaction from our body and a reaction that is thanking you, whether it feels like it or not. So this time we'll bring the left leg about 45 degrees out to the side, and we'll bend the right knee. Oh, sorry, we're gonna keep it straight for the first one. Sorry about that. So left foot is facing directly in front of you, foot is flexed, and then right knee falls out to the side, letting the sole of the right foot connect somewhere to the leg. It really doesn't matter where. Have your prop close by if you'd like to place anything on top of your body. And then we'll flex that left foot, inhale to reach the arms high, elongating the spine, draw the shoulders towards the ears, and then relax them down. As you inhale, we'll hinge forward at the hips and hold that heavy platter. So we're not reaching all the way down yet. Then we'll start to reach the right arm forward, then reach the left arm forward. Reach the right arm forward, like you're grabbing a rope, and the left arm forward. Good, so now we're just waking up that hamstring, asking it how much it needs. Maybe your left leg and your right leg are totally different because we're human and not symmetrical, but we're just taking a little judgment, we're taking a little observation. Then we'll inhale, hold that heavy platter, reach all the way forward as much as you can. Then when you can't reach anymore, we'll exhale to drop the platters, reach the fingers towards the ground. Maybe you crawl a centimeter closer towards the wall in front of you and start to release the head towards the legs. This is where I like to take my pillow or my blanket and let my chest or my forehead rest on it. In this Janu Shirshasana, we'll take about 5 breaths. And I want you to think about, in a forward fold, we're folding forward, not downward. So the spine is continuing to lengthen forward instead of rounding towards the ground. So the shoulders want to continue reaching towards the wall or whatever is in front of you, instead of the shoulders looking for the ground and connecting with the earth. Wherever you are, check in with the left toes. If they're not pointing up, if they're pointing to the side, invite them to point up to the ceiling and see how that feels. You can dig that left heel into the earth. Maybe the knee pops up a little bit to invite a little action into the quad. One more inhale, reach the chest forward. Exhale, release the head towards the ground for your variation of Janu Shirshasana. From here, we'll take our fingertips to the earth and crawl ourselves back up to a straightened torso position. Inhale to reach the arms up overhead. And from here, we're going to let that left leg scoot over to its 45-degree angle and let the right leg connect. We'll heel toe it over to connect with the left leg. You need to use your hands here, totally cool. But we'll end with our left foot flexed to the sky with a little bit of a soft knee. So no locking. I don't want hyperextension here. Inhale to find that elongation. Maybe you trace the sides of your body once again. And then we'll twist slightly to the right towards our bent leg. Let the left arm reach towards the leg that's extended, and then reach those right arm towards the left wall. Good. So I didn't say this on the other side, but another option is to put a pillow or a blanket or a block on that straightened leg. So then it brings the leg a little bit closer to you to let the left arm extend, to let the side bodies open and have a little bit more support. From here, you'll find your variation. Maybe your variation is rolling the heart to the ground and then rolling the heart to the sky and finding somewhere that feels good or staying in movement. Or maybe your version of this pose is letting the arms find big circles in one direction and big circles in the other. Maybe your variation is continuing to reach the right fingertips all the way towards the side wall. So the fingertips are reaching in the same direction as that extended left leg, continuing to use the strength of the body to really open the right side of the spine, the right obliques, even the back of the heart. Check in with the head. If the ear went towards the shoulder, try to use that strength of the neck. Otherwise, you can take the left hand to the head and support yourself. Take 2 more breaths here. Inhaling, you find a length in the spine. Exhale, you use that length to reach the fingers a little closer to the wall. Good, I saw some really good adjustments there. One more inhale. Embrace the core slightly. Exhale to reach the torso back upright. Both hands reach high. And then we'll place them on the ground. Beautiful. So we'll get rid of our props. Let the legs extend long in front of us and just shake it out one last time. Okay, so now to get to our ab work, and then we'll do a couple supine twists on the ground, a little bit of glute stretching, and then I'll give you guys a little Shavasana of a tiny bit of meditation. So we'll start by laying on the ground. And Ronnie, I know that you were modifying for your neck before, so we don't have any crunches this time, but if something doesn't feel good, just let me know, okay?
Great.
Okay, cool. And Russ, are you good laying down on the ground for some leg abs?
Sure.
Okay, let's try it. And if this doesn't feel good to anyone, I'm gonna give you 2 different options to do instead. So if you just wanna relax, actually, I'm just gonna give you one option because I think everybody's gonna like it. So you can take your feet about mat's distance, let the knees fall towards one another, and lay completely down. This is a really yummy low back release for most people, but if this doesn't feel good, you can walk the feet towards one another and then let the knees fall away from each other. And this is a hip release instead. So if you're doing some abs with me, we're just gonna do about 3 exercises, so it won't be that long. We're going to lay on the ground, and we're gonna take our hands in a nice little triangle and place it underneath our sacrum. So I'm gonna show you what I mean here. Our sacrum's that triangular bone right at the base of our spine. So I like to just hold myself stable by putting a triangle with my hands right underneath me. It helps my hips stay on the ground. It helps my low back stay on the ground, so I'm not accidentally finding a back bend. So if you're doing that with me, we'll take that triangle and then we'll lift the legs up towards the sky. Maybe they come to straighten, maybe they find a bend. And so this is where you get to choose your medicine. If you like the less sensational, less effective version, you can keep the legs closer to kind of a perpendicular from the floor. If you want more work, we'll let the legs come to a 45-degree angle, maybe even lower, maybe floating on the ground, but you choose your medicine and you'll already feel your abs working here. So what we're going to do is find your place that you want your ab work to happen. And then we're gonna take scissors. So we're gonna open the legs and then close the legs, letting the right cross over left. Open the legs and then close them, left over right. So I want you to think about the fact that you can use momentum and just have your legs bouncing. But what we want to do is have slow, controlled movements to ask the legs and the abs to work for us. If you're not feeling it and you want more, I encourage you to drop the legs a little bit closer to the ground and see what happens. If this isn't working for anybody because of the hips or the knees, bend the knees instead and we'll open and close. And if this doesn't feel good for a different reason, just let me know and we'll find a different way. So as we open the legs, we inhale. And as we close the legs, we exhale. I want you to hold the abs in, kind of like a puppy is about to jump on you. Like what would your body do if a puppy was about to jump on you? And we'll inhale to open, exhale to close.
Julie,
We'll just do,
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
is your lower back pressed into the ground or there's a space?
yes, my low back is pressed into the ground. I like to use that triangle either right under or I'll take it underneath my whole body and making sure that my back is pressed in. Yes, good question. So yeah, we're going to protect the back instead of letting it lift up. If you can see here, I don't want this little bridge. I want to really press it down, and that is pressing my abs to the ground. Otherwise, if you have that little space, you're not contracting as much as your body could. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. So we'll do just 2 more, opening on the inhale and then closing. And then we'll all meet with our legs touching, heels, knees, and big toes. From here, we're going to take some leg drops. So I have a couple options for you, as always. We can drop both legs on the inhale as low as you want, and then exhale, we'll lift them back up. A different option is to drop the right leg on the inhale and then lift it back up. And then the left leg on the inhale and then lift it back up. So I want you to take 5 rounds, dropping on the inhale and then lifting on the exhale. Pressing the low back into the ground, letting the neck remain long, letting the shoulders and ears stay away from one another. Good. So maybe 3, maybe 2 more, wherever you are. And then you'll take 5 more if you want to continue like this. If you want to hike it up for a little more challenge, I want you to meet me in a floating leg raise. So maybe you're here, maybe your legs are reaching down towards the ground, or maybe you're halfway through. If you'd like to hike it up a little bit, we'll lift the right leg up towards the sky and then lower it to meet the left. Then we'll lift the left leg up towards the sky, lower it to meet the right. Good. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Just 2 more. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. 2 more. Good. On your own count, breathe, deep breaths. And bring both legs to the ground, feet on the earth, knees facing up. And we'll just take some windshield wipers, letting the knees fall from one side to the other. Beautiful. All right, your ab work is finished for today. And from here, we'll let the left foot either stay on the ground or extend long as we invite the right knee into the chest. So this is a nice little subtle hip opener. And if this doesn't feel good on the left hip, you can always bend the left knee and plant the left foot on the earth. Maybe you stay here in stillness, hugging the knee to the chest, or maybe it feels good to open the knee out to the right and then make big circles, drawing circles in the knee in one direction and then the other. Wherever you are, just sensing a little bit of opening in the groin area, in the hip area. And then we'll hug that knee back into the chest. Take the left hand onto the outside of the right knee. Let the right arm open out like a wing. And we'll start to twist onto the left side of the body, letting the right knee come towards the ground. I really like to put my right knee on a pillow or on a surface here. Sometimes that feels good for people. Sometimes people like to bend both of their knees and have something in between their legs. Sometimes people like to crisscross right knee on top of left, let them fall towards the earth. And the gaze can be either straight at the ceiling, or you can gaze past the right fingertips if it's okay on your neck. I'm going to sit up, but I want you guys to stay exactly where you are in your supine twist. Inhaling, you find length in the spine. Exhale, you use the length to twist a little bit deeper into your supine twist. I'll leave you to some silence for just 3 more breaths. Release your final exhale. Let the gaze come back to the ceiling if it's not there already. We'll engage the abdomen just slightly to roll the body back onto the back, letting the knees face the ceiling and the feet plant about hips distance. This time we'll invite the left knee into the chest. You have an option to keep the right foot planted on the ground, or you have an option to extend the right leg along, letting the heel find the earth. Option to keep stillness in the body, pressing the left knee towards the left armpit for a little bit of a hip opener, or you have an option to rock back and forth, or open the knee to the left side, maybe make some big circles, just lubing up the hip joint, juicing it up a little bit, letting it feel good, or just noticing what's happening. Maybe it doesn't feel good. Maybe you need to do this more. Wherever you are, take one more breath in this little hip opener. And then we'll bring the right hand to the outside of the left knee. Left arm opens up like a wing next to you. And then we'll start to roll on the right side of the body, letting the left knee find its way towards the ground, maybe on top of a block or a pillow or a blanket. And you have an option to bend that right knee underneath the left. You have an option to crisscross right knee over left, or anything that might feel good here. That might be something intuitive from your internal teacher. Wherever you are, let the gaze fall up to the ceiling or past the left fingers, and just let yourself take 4 breaths. Again, I'll sit up, but stay where you are. In twists, we inhale to find length through the spine and the vertebrae. And on the exhale, we use the length to continue the twist throughout the body. So yes, your spine is twisting, but so is the pelvis, so is the neck, so is the head and the eyes. So you can use this full body stretch to continue opening in different directions. Take 2 more breaths. After your final exhale, embrace the core just slightly and you roll onto the back. Let the feet plant into the earth. Invite both knees into the chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. Maybe you rock side to side or just stay in stillness. And we'll take one final inhale before releasing to our Shavasana. Inhale, clench the eyes, purse the lips together, squeeze the hands together, flex the feet. And then as you exhale, we'll release all of the tension from the face. Let the feet find the earth. Crawl the feet out in front of you to let the legs come to straighten, and release the arms wide by the sides. If laying on your back is not comfortable for you, you can come to sit against a wall or in a chair instead, but we'll take a rock the head no once or twice, and then find center. Let the torso relax, the legs relax, and the fingers relax. And we'll just rest for a minute in Shavasana, which is our integration of all of our energy and our movements. It is 9 o'clock, so if anyone has to go, I totally understand. But 2 minutes of Shavasana to integrate your practice will close us off in the proper way of yoga. Shavasana. we'll start to bring awareness back into the body, bringing movements, tiny movements into the hands, maybe the toes. And then we'll bring awareness to the breath body, the energetic body, by a deep inhale through the nostrils. Hold it at the top, and then open the mouth to sigh it out. If you'd like to stay here in a laying position to close your practice, feel free. Otherwise, you can roll to one side, pause in a fetal position for just a moment, and then use the strength of your arm to lift you up to a comfortable seat. The eyes can stay heavy or closed, and we'll bring the palms to heart center to close our practice. We'll draw the thumbs to the forehead as a reminder of clear, loving thoughts. Thumbs to the lips as a reminder of clear, loving communications. And thumbs to the heart as a reminder of clear, loving actions. Thank you, everybody, for sharing your time and yourself with me, as well as your yoga practice. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Jules. Wonderful.
Thank you. So good to see you.
Appreciate it.
I'm glad technology worked for you. Of course.
Namaste.
Namaste. I'm so glad to have you, Russ.
Thank you.
Good. Well, I hope you guys have a great night. If you have any questions or feedback or want to chat anything, I'm here. But I hope you sleep well.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Hey,
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank you, Jewel.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye,
Thank
Russ.
you. Thank
Of
you.
course. Thanks for coming. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay,
Awesome.
bye.
All right. Have a good night.